I remember when I was in second grade, I decided I was going to become a bully. So I was like, it's time. It's time that I'm the bully now and not the bullied. And so I was in second grade, and I was a big kid by now. And I'm like, I got to find someone to bully. So I found a kid that was smaller than me. And I remember it very clearly. We were standing next to the bathroom, and he was short and I was tall. And I went up to him, and I'm like, what do bullies say? Like, I don't know. Like, I had to think of something to say. And so I went up to him. I was like, what color? And the worst voice, like, what color are your shoes? Like, that's what came out of my mouth. And he looks at me, slightly terrified and slightly confused. He's like, black. And I'm like, yeah. And I walked away. That was my bullying career. Yeah, it was pretty pitiful. But anyhow, these Midianites were not bullies like that. Like, these were like legit bullies. Like they would come and take everything. They'd come in and they would camp in there, hundreds of thousands of people, and they would consume everything until the land was bare. And the people of Israel were starving. Imagine that. Imagine your family, that you're living in your home. You've got a garden. You've got maybe some livestock there. And you're raising these things to provide for your family. And then just somebody swoops in and takes it all. And now your family is starving. Like, what do you do? What do you do? Well, Judges 6:1 is where we're going to pick up. It says, then the angel of the Lord came and sat beneath the great tree at Ophrah. Now, that's not Oprah, okay? That's Ophrah. It was a city, not a person. Came and sat beneath the great tree at Ophrah, which belonged to Joash of the clan of Abiezer. Gideon, son of Joash, was threshing wheat at the bottom of a winepress to hide the grain from the Midianites. Okay, so let's just stop here for a moment. That's not how you thresh wheat. So normally how you would thresh wheat is you would get the kernels of wheat, and then you would hit them with something. You would crush them to kind of crack the outer husk, and then you would have some kind of a basket or something, and you would throw it in the air. So you'd usually want to find like a high elevated place, somewhere with a consistent wind, and you'd throw it in the air, and the wind would blow the chaff away, and then all of the grain would come settling back down. And so that's what you would do over and over. You kind of pound this out, throw it up in the air, the wind blows the chaff away, and that's how you get the grain to make your wheat to provide for your family. Here though, Gideon was threshing wheat at the bottom of a winepress. Now, winepress was something that was generally a pit in the ground, and maybe 7-8 foot deep pit, and they would fill it full of grapes, and usually there was a channel that would go to another pit, and so they'd fill it full of grapes, and they would go in there and they would step on it and they would crush it, and they'd crush all the grapes in there, and then the grape juice would kind of flow over to the other little pit, and then that's where the fermentation process would begin. Well, Gideon is in the pit threshing grain. So like if you saw from a distance, all you'd see is kind of a hole in the ground, and then grain come flying up and then drop back down. Like that's it. It just flies up and drops back down. Flies up, drops down. This is not a very good way to thresh grain. But why was he doing that? Gideon, son of Joash, was threshing wheat at the bottom of a winepress to hide the grain from the Midianites. So he was afraid. This was food that he somehow procured for his family, and he's trying to protect it, so he's hiding in a wine press, and that is where he's threshing this grain. So now, this is not the mark of a hero, right? This is the mark of somebody who's just trying to get by. He's like just keeping his head down, trying to stay under the radar, trying not to make waves with anybody. It's like, I just don't want to be seen. I hope nobody sees you. I'm just here to get a little bit of food, and then I'm going to go home. And then the next verse says this in verse 12. The angel of the Lord appeared to him and said, mighty hero, the Lord is with you. Like, that's kind of ironic, isn't it? Like, here he is in a wine press, hiding from the enemies, and the angel's like, and I don't think he said it like, mighty hero, the Lord is with you. I think it was loud, like, mighty hero, the Lord is with you. He's like, can you keep your voice down? There's no heroes around here right now. It's like, mighty man of valor. You talking to me? Like he was not a leader. He's in a wine press threshing grain, for crying out loud. He had no military experience. He was hiding in a pit. He's like, will you just keep it down? I don't know who you're looking for, but don't draw attention over here to me. In your notes, God calls us for who we will become, though, not who we are. See, that's what I believe was happening there. See, at that moment, Gideon was not a mighty warrior. He was not, but God was calling him that in advance. I believe sometimes God calls us things in advance, not because that's who we are, but that's who we are destined to become if we follow him. Continuing on in verse 13, Sir, Gideon replied, if the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us? And where are all the miracles our ancestors told us about? Didn't they say the Lord brought us up out of Egypt? But now the Lord has abandoned us and handed us over to the Midianites. So Gideon is getting a little salty with the angel here, right? Like he's arguing with the angel. An angel shows up. He's like, hey, mighty hero, the Lord is with you. And then Gideon, he's shocked. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. He's like, let me tell you something. Where's God now? Have you ever felt like that? Like where's God now? Where's God in the mess that I'm facing now? Where's God in the trouble that I'm going through right now? Where's God in all of this? Yeah, you say you're coming representing God. Well, where is he? And he tries, so he's doing this. And then the angel, is talking to him, and he's like in the pit there, and they're talking, and he's in the pit, kind of miserable, kind of angry. And then it says that God wants to use him. Let's see, in verse 14. Well, actually, before that, he's in the pit. And do we ever feel like we're in the pit? Do we ever feel like we've like hit rock bottom in our own life? We ever feel like I can't go any lower? I can't go any lower. That's where God often shows up. In your notes, God will often show up when we're at our lowest. It says verse 14, the Lord turned to him and said, go with the strength that you have and rescue Israel from the Midianites. Rescue Israel from the Midianites. Then he tries to make excuses. He's like, I can't go. I'm in the weakest clan, and I'm the weakest member of the clan. Like, how? And he's supposed to be a mighty warrior? Like, he's bragging about how weak he is. He's like, I'm the weakest person you ever met. Like, I'm not the right guy. You can't use me. You can't pick me. Who am I? I'm a nobody. Many of us, we feel that way. Like, I'm just a nobody. He says, go with the strength you already have and rescue Israel from the Midianites. I am sending you. Go with what you already have. It's like, look, I got nothing. Maybe you feel like that in your own life. I got nothing. I don't have anything. That's not true. You do have something. And your notes, with God, you have more than enough. God has equipped you. He's given you talents and abilities. God has equipped you in more ways than you can imagine. And with God, you are enough. And he's saying to Gideon, I don't expect you to go with what you don't have. Go with what you already have. You got a little bit of courage. Go with that. Go with that. And then he gives Gideon a mission from God. He says, I want you to go and destroy your dad's altar to Baal. Baal was a false god. And guess what? Gideon's dad had a big altar, and everybody would come together, and they'd all worship Baal, worship this god, and they'd sacrifice, and they'd do all kinds of horrible things there. And the angel's like, I want you to go and destroy it. Like, no pressure, right? Like, go and destroy dad's altar. So he's like, okay. He gets 10 other people. And they're going to go, but they're going to go in the middle of night. Because he's a coward. Like, he's scared. He's like, I'll do this, but I'll do this in the middle of the night. He's afraid. You ever wake up and see something vandalized? Somebody snuck in the middle of the night and did it. Happened to us here at the church like a couple months ago. We came out and somebody did donuts in the front lawn. I'm like, wow, somebody had fun here last night, And here's the thing. Like they wake up the next morning and then they see this altar had been vandalized. It had been destroyed and a new altar was in its place. And everybody's like, what happened? And they're like, oh, Gideon did it. Gideon. Then they start demanding that he be put to death. Gideon's dad, who owned the altar, actually stood up for Gideon. Sometimes our act of boldness will inspire somebody else's. Gideon stood up and destroyed the altar, and now dad, who owned the altar, is now starting to stand up a little bit too. He's like, you know what, guys? Don't kill him. If this is Baal's altar, let Baal defend himself. Why should we defend the God? If the God is so powerful, let him do it. Let him do it. So he got off with that. Then, shortly thereafter, the Midianites begin to mount up their attack to come through and once again wipe out all of the Israelites' hard work, to wipe out their crops, to wipe everything out. So Gideon does a call to arms, and all these soldiers come in, And there's 32,000 soldiers that gather. And as they're coming in, Gideon's like, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. So he says to God, like, if you're sure that we should go and fight these Midianites, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a piece of lamb's wool and I'm going to put it outside. And if in the morning the dew saturates the wool, but the ground is dry, then I'll know it's you. Sure enough, the next day he comes out, the lamb's wool is soaking wet, the ground's dry. He's like, okay, that was too easy. Like, let's mix it up a little bit. How about tomorrow morning, I want the ground to be wet and the fleece to be dry. Or is that what I just said? I don't know. I don't remember. It's the opposite, whichever one that is. And he comes out, sure enough. The next day, the ground is dry, the fleece is wet. And it's the opposite of it. And now he's like, okay, we're going to go. 32,000 soldiers come in. They're ready to rumble, except there was only one problem. Their enemy was about 135,000 people. So this is basically like a 4-to-1 odds. Like every fighting soldier had to kill 4 other fighting soldiers in order for them to be able to be victorious in the situation. So they're outnumbered 4-to-1. But they're like, okay, you know what? They're probably going to do the Braveheart speech, get everybody pumped up. They're going to go into it. They're going to fight this battle, right? They're going to do this. And then look what it says in Judges 7:2. The Lord said to Gideon, you have too many warriors with you. Like too many? Like I only got 32. Like it's 4-to-1 odds. Like there's no way we can just say, no, you know what? You got too many warriors. Because if I let all of you fight the Midianites, the Israelites will boast to me that they saved themselves with their own strength. So then Gideon goes and says, okay, anybody here afraid? Anybody, wimps, you don't want to fight in this battle. You don't want to defend your homeland. If you're a wimp, then go home right now. 22,000 said, see ya. They walk away. 10,000 are left. God looks and says, that's too much. Like, what do you mean it's too much? This is 13-to-1 odds now. Now every fighting soldier has to kill 13 other fighting soldiers in order for it to be a victory. Like the odds are stacked against them, and God's like, no, that's too much. I want you to take them to a lake and see how they drink water. And Gideon must be like, that's kind of creepy. I'm going to watch them drinking water. God's like, I don't care. I want you to do it anyway. They all go to the water. He says, whoever just sticks their face in the water and drinks like a dog, tell them to go home. But if they cup up the water with their hands, then you can let them stay and fight. So Gideon's probably like doing how to drink water coaching lessons on the side. He's like, just scoop it up. And for some reason, 9,700 of them drank it up like a dog. 9,700 he sends home. Now they're left with 300. Now we're at 450-to-1. That means every fighting soldier has to kill 450 people. The odds are stacked against them. And God's like, okay, now we're talking. See, and sometimes God will ask you to do something that doesn't make sense. See, Gideon kept getting asked to do these things. It didn't make sense. He's like, God, what are you doing here? What are you doing? Why are you sending all these people home? I had 32,000. Now we're down to 300. And God's like, okay, go attack. It's like, what? Are you serious? And then he said, but if you're afraid, why don't you just do like a little spy run into the enemy camp? So Gideon's like, okay. So he sneaks into the enemy camp and he goes in there and he hears 2 soldiers and they're talking. And one soldier says, hey man, I had a dream last night. The guy's like, oh yeah, what was your dream? I had a dream that a big loaf of bread rolled through and it rolled all over our army. And the guy's like, wow, it's a crazy dream, man. I bet that means Gideon's going to win. And Gideon's like, oh, okay, great. Now, I don't know, seems like a sketchy dream to me, but Gideon took that as a word from God. He goes back and says, hey guys, they had a dream that bread crushed them, so we're going after. And we're going to get the state-of-the-art weapons here. We're going to get a horn and a pot and a torch. Like no swords, no spears, no battle axes, no bows and arrows, a horn, a pot, and a torch. And they break up into 3 groups of 100. Judges 7, verse 19. It was after midnight, so it was dark out after the changing of the guard. When Gideon and 100 men reached the edge of the Midianite camp, suddenly they blew the ram's horn. Now, I didn't have a horn, but I assume there's probably one like redneck in there. So he does something like that. They blow the horn, and they break the clay jar. And then the light shines out. And then everybody is now blinded by the light. And then the light goes, they blew the ram's horn, they broke the clay jars, then all three groups blew their horns again. Oh, you got to blow the horn again. Hold on, here we go. And then they blow the horn, and they break the jars. They held the blazing torches in their left hand, and then their horns in the right hand. Oh, that's a mess. And their horn in the right hand. And they all shouted, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." That's all they did. And then each man stood at his position around the camp and watched as all the Midianites rushed around in panic, shouting as they ran to escape. And when 300 Israelites blew the ram's horn, the Lord caused the warriors in the camp to fight against each other with their swords. And those who were not killed fled. See, Gideon and the troops, they fought with silly weapons, a sword and a torch and a clay pot. I'm sorry, not a sword, a horn, a clay pot, and a torch. They fought with these things. They were unlikely. They weren't conventional. But in your notes, God loves to use unlikely means to accomplish his purposes. He likes to use unlikely things to accomplish his purpose here on this earth. And they fought the darkness with light. Like they're at midnight, and all this bright light is shining, and that light conquered the darkness, and it put the whole Midianite army into confusion. And we live in a dark world as well. And we're in a spiritual battle, not over land and not over politics, but we're in a spiritual battle over the eternal souls of people.